Hello, everyone. Think of me as a friend of yours from Wall Street. You know, this morning, while walking along Central Park, I saw a maple tree blazing red, its leaves about to fall. It reminded me of something an old friend once said, a seasoned fund manager. In investing, the hardest moment isn't when you're losing money, it's when you start doubting your own conviction. I know many of you are watching this video because you're holding MST, or shares of MicroStrategy, MSTR. And I also know the past few weeks have probably meant some long, sleepless nights for you. You look at your phone, see endless red candles, read headlines about MSCI removing this stock or that one, and it feels like you're rowing a small boat through a massive flood. But pause for a moment. I want you to take a deep breath. We're not here to talk about whether the price will go up or down a few percent tomorrow. We're here to talk about the truth. Have you ever asked yourself why Michael Saylor is willing to bet an entire empire on Bitcoin? A friend of mine once put it this way: Bitcoin isn't a currency, it's a protocol of truth. Look at how Gen Z and Gen Alpha are growing up. To them, a bar of gold feels heavy, outdated, and hard to move. But an encrypted line of code on a phone? That's power. That's freedom. We're standing at a historic turning point, much like the people who first saw the potential of the internet back in 1995. Back then, Amazon was called a failure. Google was dismissed as a joke. Today, history is repeating itself with Bitcoin, only in a more sophisticated way. I want you to understand this clearly. When you invest in MSTR or an MST fund, you're not really buying a stock. You're buying an option on the future of the global financial system. Here's something interesting I've learned after years of working with American investors. The crowd is highly emotional. Right now, MSTR is trading at an unusually deep discount. Imagine walking into a store and seeing a $100 bill priced at $90. What would you do? Would you run away in fear or buy it immediately? Numbers don't lie. If you take the total Bitcoin holdings of MicroStrategy, add their cash reserves, and subtract their debt, you'll find that the intrinsic value is about 11% to 15% higher than its current market cap. That's a beautifully irrational moment in the market. Among professionals, we call that a golden opportunity for those who know how to observe. But let me be honest with you, investing is not all sunshine and rainbows. I always tell my clients, secure your anchor before you decorate your sails. Never put all your eggs in one basket, even if that basket is diamond-plated. Keep 80%, even 90% of your capital in the most solid foundations, index funds, core stocks. Then use the remaining 10% to play with opportunities like MST. That's how you sleep well at night, while still giving yourself a shot at a life-changing upside. Many people ask me, why does Saylor keep issuing more shares? Isn't that diluting my ownership? The answer lies in a very sophisticated financial concept that few people truly understand: accretive yield. Yes, they issue shares, but they use that capital to acquire Bitcoin at a much faster rate. The result? Each share you own actually represents more Bitcoin over time. You're not being diluted, your value is being concentrated. That's a level of financial engineering only exceptional minds can design. Have you noticed something else? Every time bad news hits, like being removed from an MSCI index, that's when the strong hands are buying the most. It's a transfer of wealth from the impatient to the visionary. Let me end this opening with a simple thought. Investing, at its core, is a form of mental training. It forces you to confront your deepest fears. If you believe the world is moving toward digitization, if you believe fiat money is slowly losing its purchasing power, then these violent price swings are nothing more than small ripples on a vast blue ocean. Don't let shocking headlines blind you. Look at the numbers. Look at their intelligent debt structure. And above all, look at the future we're heading toward. Now let's dive deeper into the detailed analysis, number by number, so you can see that even in chaos, there is always a perfect order. Are you ready? Let's begin. You know, on Wall Street, we have a phrase we love: signal versus noise. Most people out there are drowning in the noise. They're shouting about reverse splits or the MST fund cutting its monthly distribution. But I want you to rise above that noise and focus on the signal. Let me tell you the story of what I call MicroStrategy, the Bitcoin printing machine. There's a dangerous misunderstanding I see all over investment forums. People are terrified of dilution. They say Michael Saylor is issuing more shares to buy Bitcoin again. Our holdings are about to become worthless. But stop for a moment and look at it differently. Imagine you own a bakery. You bring in new partners to raise money to buy more ovens and flour. If those new ovens allow you to produce more than twice as much bread as before, more than the number of partners you just added, that's not dilution. That's scaling power. Here's one metric I've studied very carefully, and I want you to remember it. Bitcoin per share. Yes, the share count increases, but the amount of Bitcoin each share represents increases even faster. You own fewer pieces of paper, but more gold. That's financial genius, where debt stops being a burden and becomes rocket fuel. Have you ever wondered why some of the largest banks in the world are willing to lend to Saylor at near zero interest rates? A colleague of mine at Goldman Sachs once admitted to me, "We don't lend to him because we believe in Bitcoin. We lend because his debt structure is extremely safe." MicroStrategy has a powerful shield, its legacy software business. Cash flow from the core business services the debt, while the Bitcoin is held tightly, like a strategic reserve for the next 100 years. Now, what about MST, the so-called black box many of you are holding? I know, seeing the distribution drop from 60 cents to 20 cents hurts. But let me be very direct with you, as a professional. In the world of covered call funds, yield is often an illusion. It's like moving money from your left pocket to your right pocket. What truly matters is not how much cash you receive this month, it's total return. The managers at Harvest, the firm behind MST, are not amateurs. They are mathematical specialists. When markets become violently volatile, they must adjust to protect NAV. If they kept paying high distributions while the share price was falling, that would be the real danger, because they'd be bleeding your capital. Cutting the distribution is actually a move to protect your long-term investment. Understand this clearly. MST is like a warhorse with a turbocharger. It uses about 25% leverage. When Bitcoin rises, it can explode upward. But when the market collapses, leverage becomes a double-edged sword and losses come faster. That's why I repeat this over and over. Never build your house on sand. Look at your portfolio right now. If MST makes up more than 20% of your total assets, you're not investing. You're gambling with your family's future. A wise American investor knows how to stay emotionally calm. And calm only comes when you know that no matter what MST does, the other 80% of your capital is safely anchored in solid holdings. Index ETFs, core income funds like VFV or HDIV. A friend once asked me, if Bitcoin goes sideways for 2 years, do I lose everything? The answer is no, if you understand covered calls. That's exactly when funds like MST shine. They harvest volatility and turn it into income. That's the beauty of cash flow in a quiet market. So ask yourself this question. Are you investing because of a few numbers flashing on a screen? Or because you believe in a revolution? If you believe in the revolution, these waves are just seasoning for the final victory. Remember, financial markets transfer money from the impatient to the disciplined. And discipline begins with truly understanding what you own. Don't fear red numbers on a screen. Fear not having the knowledge to decode them. In the next section, I'll show you exactly how I allocate weekly cash flow to optimize cost basis. No matter which direction the market moves, we're still here, together, in the middle of this storm. And remember, after the storm passes, what remains is pure gold. We've talked about the numbers, the mechanics, and even the digital dreams. But in the end, after you turn off this screen, only one question remains. What are you going to do? Let me share a secret from the busiest trading floors in New York. The greatest investors I've ever met were not the smartest people in the room. They were the ones with the strongest temperament. They don't act on fear, they act on a plan. So what's our plan in a volatile market like MST and MSTR? I want you to adopt a strategy I call the weekly rhythm. Instead of throwing all your capital in on one perfect day and then praying, break it up. Every week, commit a fixed amount, an amount that, even if it disappeared, would not change your life, and consistently add to your position. Why weekly? Because crypto and MicroStrategy behave like a wild horse. You don't tame it in a single day. Buying weekly smooths out the turbulence. When prices fall, you buy more. When prices rise, you're already in profit. That's how you take power away from the market and put it back in your own hands. A friend of mine, a self-made crypto millionaire, once said, "The biggest mistake isn't buying the top, it's quitting at the bottom." I want you to hear this clearly. Never let red and green charts erase the reason you started in the first place. If you believe Bitcoin is an exit strategy from an inflationary financial system, then every drawdown is a gift for the patient. Remember the example I gave earlier about buying a $100 bill for $90? That opportunity doesn't last forever. When the crowd is panicking over MSCI rumors or criticism from conservative analysts, that's when smart money goes to work, quietly, methodically, collecting what others have abandoned. But I want you to promise me one thing, and this is critical. Never trade your family's peace of mind. Don't borrow money to invest in MST. Don't use rent money to bet on MSTR. Let these investments be seeds for your future, not chains on your present. Think like a responsible provider. Invest like a long-term visionary. Have you noticed that the richest people in the world are usually the most long-term thinkers? They don't think in days, they think in decades. 5 or 10 years from now, when you look back at the volatility of 2026, who do you want to be? The person who quit just outside the gates of opportunity, or the one who stayed disciplined and earned the reward? I truly believe we are living through the greatest transition in financial history, and you, sitting in front of this screen right now, already have an edge over 99% of the population simply because you're seeking understanding instead of panic. Before we wrap up, I want you to leave a comment below. What is your strategy for the next 5 years? I'll personally read them and discuss them with you. We are a community, and we'll get through this storm together. If you found value in this video, share it with a friend who's worried about their portfolio. Help them find their own anchor. Investing can be a lonely journey, but you are not alone. I'm your friend from Wall Street, and I'll be here to help you decode the market every step of the way. Thank you for giving me your time. I wish you a calm mindset and wise investment decisions. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.